thousands of participants, right?
Yeah, I think 2,000 or 3,000.
Do you remember what your like best trade was?
Oh, because in the competition we were allowed to short, so I shorted Chelsea, Tito, during it was like an extended rally from the telco stocks.
Okay.
Funny that you mentioned Chelsea. Chelsea was my first IPO experience. It was
So
not
long
the best.
That's so long ago, like
Yeah.
before 2017. So 2017.
Oh yeah, 2017. That's
IPO back
2017.
10, right now it's 1 peso.
1 peso, yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then I was able to make the money back with KPPI.
Another IPO.
Another IPO. Yeah.
Ceiling.
for me, my main motivation when I started out was actually I got lucky. So like my first trade, I won. So I made money from Petron Corporation. And ever since then, my brain flipped its switch. Like instead of like spending on my wants, parang you'd like to be. I feel like it's the healthy kind of greedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of using that money for your wants, you set aside some, right, or most, to invest in trades
And grow it even more.
and grow it even more.
Fun fact, Petron was also my first stock. I bought it around 8 and I cut loss around 5.
Wow, what a fun experience.
Yeah.
I think it's almost the other way around to me naman. Me, about like, I bought it near 6 and then I sold it like 9.
Wow.
So
Pero lucky trade eh.
baka the one I bought from was you.
Baka baliktad pa lang. I bought it from
Exit
you.
liquidity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
And now it's what? Below 3 pesos.
Yes.
Back to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this for so many times, but this just shows you how like important is it to like starting like just a few years extra early. How important it is like to have a different final value by the time that you retire. So actually, one of our most exciting products that we launched here in Dragonfly recently is what we call Pera.
Yeah.
So
Personal
could you please-
equity retirement account.
Yeah. So could you please walk our audience through like what Pera is about and why it's a game changer?
So Pera is basically your retirement account. For those who are abroad or OWs, it's similar to maybe a 401k or Roth IRA in the US. And it does have a lot of tax benefits. For example, you're not subject to the 10% dividend tax, which a lot of people in the Philippines are doing investors, so that helps a lot.
So meaning if a company pays out 5% in dividends.
Yes, 5%.
Yes.
You don't-
Because normally you get
You
4.5%.
get less between the tax, right?
Okay.
And then the other ones for funds, you're not subject to the 20% withholding tax. So naturally, the net asset value per unit is a lot higher than the counterpart if it was a non-Pera.
Yeah.
Like if you look into our platform, if you compare the BPI money market and the BPI short term and the BPI Pera money market, the BPI Pera money market's about 7.5% as of today, and then the BPI short term is about 4%.
Which almost invest into the same product.
Yes,
It's just that
it's really identical.
The only difference is one does not get the 20% withholding tax and the other one does. That's why the one in Pera has higher returns than the one that is non-Pera.
extremely good returns. I mean, 7% money market fund. That's a really good return.
Yeah, that's like close to MP2, right?
Yeah, almost like
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, investing in money market fund kasi it's as close as you can get to
a risk-free
to a
asset.
risk-free
Yeah.
asset. Meaning, sure,
Yeah, but there's still risk. It's just not it's very minimal now.
Yes.
You're conservative.
The country defaults, right?
Mm.
That's the only risk.
And then the other benefit is the tax credit. So you get 5% of whatever you contributed for the year. So if you max it out to 200k, you get 10%.
Yes.
You get 5%, so 10k back. You get 10k back.
For non-OFWs,
For
it's like
those-
200,000 maximum.
Yeah.
But for OFWs, it's 400.
400k. Yeah. So it's a lot. But as I say that, it's also one of the drawbacks because you can only invest up to 200k and 400k if you're an OFW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't think we should use this rule, but obviously, there's also no estate tax on Pera. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
get to pass it on to your
Hopefully, you don't
Come
need to use
soon.
that soon.
Yeah.
But yes, you can pass it on to your kids as a legacy, and they will continue to earn, but based on what you've built for them.
You just have to indicate your beneficiary in your SD
Yes.
plan.
Yeah.
Yes. And one more thing is that if Dragonfly partners with your company or with your HR, like we could restructure your compensation for you to save more on taxes.
Yeah. Also, there's the chance of matching contributions from the employer.
Yes.
So yeah. a little plug there for reach out to us.
The only drawback for a pair account is similar to a 401k in the US is that you cannot withdraw until you're 55 years old.
Yeah, you have to wait for your retirement or permanent disability or special cases, then you can withdraw.
Yes.
But
Emergencies you can.
emergencies you can. But you need to have proof.
Yeah.
But other than that, 55.
Yes, there's a 555 rule that we have.
Yeah, so if you're 55, you basically can't withdraw. Even if you're 55, you have to have at least 5 years of contribution.
Yes, exactly.
So it doesn't, the 555 is not a worry for those who are not yet 55 or who are below 50. Yeah.
And even if you do need to withdraw and it's not an emergency, you are not penalized on the whole amount. So it's just on the capital gains part, basically. The principal isn't touched for what you contributed. Now I believe we're all starting our pair accounts, right? And yours, Jared and Franco, your pair accounts are made publicly
So this is what
available.
we've been excited about for the last couple of weeks now. So we launched our investing club pair portfolio. So we have 6 in total. We have Sir John's, mine, Jared's, along with 3 other creators, MoneyWise, Investing PH, and Stocks Value. And I think one of the ones that stand out the most is MoneyWise because she is both retired and an OFW. So I think that will help a lot of our investors who are either retired or who are abroad.
It's for people to keep our audience up to speed. Basically, our investing club is for our users or clients to quote-unquote copy our investments.
Yeah, so these pair portfolios are our own portfolios, meaning you can see exactly how much we put in our own pair accounts and where we put it.
And these are real accounts, meaning
Yes.
they get their money from their own
You're not
pockets.
allowed to have a fake pair account.
Yeah, these are actual money,
Yeah,
personal money.
Personal.
And yeah, we've actually started already. So
Yeah, that's why you know they're gonna take this seriously because they're using their own money.
it's for my retirement. I want to retire comfortably.
You have skin in the game, right?
That's great. So what do you think makes it different from your normal account? Because if you are gonna start your pair account, obviously you're gonna start it from zero.
Yeah.
And not to mention there's a maximum contribution limit of 200,000 per year. Meaning to say you're not gonna deposit a lump sum into your account. You're gonna contribute it gradually. Right?
Yeah.
So what do you think is the main challenges here that you are starting from zero? And like what do you like about it as well?
Well, for me, I think first, since it's a 200k, it teaches you to budget, like what you have. So, like what I'm planning to do is I will max it out in a year. So if you do the math, 200k divided by 12, that's 16,666.67 per month.
Yes.
If you're really serious about your retirement, what you'll do is once you get your salary, right, you'll try to budget 16,666.67 per month to deposit into your pera. Then from there, slowly you'll just, what I plan to do is I will buy dividend-paying stocks, pera stocks, or growth stocks within pera, or even UITFs each month, whatever is most actionable at that time. So that's the challenge I see, parang knowing that there's a limit and trying to budget out your income, right? So that max it out and take advantage of the tax benefits.
And I asked Jared this earlier. He's actually going to deposit the 6,666.67 pesos.
Actually, I read it for January.
He's not gonna round up or round down.
It's the exact amount of the
Yes, I
percent.
should have like this example.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put like, I'm just gonna round it up, basically.
Because Jared loves you. Why would you do that? Why would you put it up into the exact decimal?
Crypto lang. I don't know.
It's just how he rolls.
Yeah, I saw it. I simplify my life. Like, the limit
Kumalang balita, gago ka.
12 months in a year.
Ina mo, pumasok-pasok kayo, kita mong babagal namin dito. Tanga ka. Tapos pailaw-ilaw ka niyan, bobo.
I think it's fun to start from scratch again because it forces you to adjust to the current market conditions where you have equity prices where have already gone up by a lot. It's no longer the same. We got at back before. So I think that's going to be a fun learning experience. And then another challenge I am currently facing since I already started was the fact that you can only invest up to 200k. So that's really forcing me to allocate my investment every month. Since I'm planning to invest between 10,000 to 18,000 a month, depending on the opportunities I see, but with the goal of maxing it out every year. So that is the challenge now.
Thank you for sharing this.
Especially at the start of the year. So dividing it among a number of stocks more than three is a challenge, given that you can only that based on my strategies to put in like about 80,000 max. So I do have to kind of be strategic about it.
Yeah.
So right now, currently, I have like three positions. So that's keeper, LPG, and Bitcoin. Yeah.
And not to mention, their names are kind of on the line here. I mean, it's like, could you replicate your success in your dividend portfolio? But now, with the current market environment, it's happening.
I think so. Also, I'm not so worried because this is long term.
Okay.
So it doesn't for me. It doesn't matter if I'm down this month because I can't do anything. I can't even use. I won't be able to withdraw it or use it for anything else other than to invest.
Yeah.
But obviously, I will pivot if I have to. I will change my positions, reinvest if I have to. But short term, I'm not worried about the fluctuations.
Another challenge that I see with starting from zero is that you're going to see your average cost at current market prices. Not unlike, for example, you have your existing dividend portfolio. So once you have your average cost is low. So once you
Yeah.
so whenever there's market fluctuation, then now you would have your average cost to market price. But
Yeah.
over time,
Over time, yeah. Especially if any of these stocks dip, then I'll buy more.
right?
And then aside from stocks, you wanna also put it in money market fund or the other pair of funds because it's great diversification.
Actually, that's a good point. So, how do you diversify or make the most use out of the funds? So, for example, the money market fund of BPI, the pair money market
That earned 7.5% as of yesterday.
So, would you think that it's a good idea when you're waiting, when there's like market opportunities and stocks to buy? You just put it first in the BPI money market fund.
Yeah, 100%. Because if you're not going to use it, why let it sit idle without any interest, right? And you can also benefit from the dry price save because it's a pair account that you can't just withdraw. So money market is the best option.
Yeah, actually, that's one of my strategies. So, like, right, I'm contributing 16,666.67. So what I do is, let's say, like this month, I bought Little Leisha and Memory Bird. So what I do is, of course, once I buy this, you'll have a bit of leftover cash. So what I do is, whatever's left over, I just put it in the money market because with that small cash, I can't buy any other stock
Yeah.
because of the border.
You'll have to wait for the next month where you
Yeah.
have another
So
60,000.
that's what I'll do for
Uso!
once I'm done deploying in either stocks or funds, whatever's left over, I'll just put it in the money market.
Napitan mo yan ang wonderstone, sir.
Parking space.
Yes.
Because I want every single centavo to
Make.
grow, right? So I want everything to put into everything's invested. So if I can't buy a stock with it, I just put it in the money market.
Yeah, and since right now we just started, so far since I just started, most of the equity value has been in stocks, but and will continue to be in stocks because of I just want to build up my stock holdings. But every month I am allocating 1,000 to 2,000 in the money market, and eventually if I see something great, then I can tap into that. But ideally, I will always have a position in the money market funds just for stability.
1,000 pesos, how many percent of your requirement?
Well, right now, as of today, I've deposited about 21. Although it didn't exceed the initial amount I wanted. So far, it's about less than 10%.
Or just like around the 10% level, just in case the market really dips.
The goal is, eventually is to have maybe 80 to 20 or 70 to 30, and 30 or 20 is in the money market or a global fund.
Which is hopefully soon to arrive.
Hopefully.
Era.
Actually, this brings me up to another point. You were bringing up earlier, like, what's the difference of starting from, like, from scratch versus, like, a lump sum? it's not like we're depositing every month and actively investing right. So instead of strategically timing every single thing, it's more of Paris more of consistency of adding up with levels.
I get what you're saying. Basically, expect more love letters from Frank and Jared because
And
we're gonna do a lot
Sir
more
John,
and from Sir John's and
Oxlog, Investing PH.
So it's a different, so parang the Para portfolios will really be different from the dividend
But
markets.
it also benefits those who don't even want to fall into Para because there are certain stocks that, for example, let's say they want to add to LTG, for example, because it's a Para stock. So obviously, let's say they already have a core position and it's way above buy below price. So obviously they can look into our strategy to Para and why we're adding it at this level for the Para portfolio. So then they can sort of get an idea of how they should follow for their regular non-Para accounts.
And another consideration is there are a limited number of Para stocks and funds.
We have 44 right
So,
now.
of course, like we're limited to DIVY, TSI 30
And then
and the Para,
For Para.
So of course, the difference between the Para and non-Para is you will find a lot of outside Para. So that's where we catch it in dividend harvest.
For
And
example, nickel right now is doing very well.
well, buti na lang, that's a Para stock.
Yeah, it's a Para stock.
So, then,
What I wish would become a Para stock is mineral water, avoid power.
Sadly, it's not a Para stock. I would have bought it.
It would have been if it never got moved.
Yeah, so having the dividend harvest and strategic growth outside of Para, it still has a place in people's portfolio.
Okay. What about peso cost average? Do you think it's a good idea to apply it, for example, the D15 or the dividend 15 benchmark of Dragonfly? Because like for people who don't know, basically like could they buy the same set of 10 to 15 stocks? Like maybe per year, because maybe it's hard for them to do it
Yeah.
per month. Right? Is this like a doable strategy
For Para,
for Para?
for me, it might be a bit harder because of the 203 limit, right? So, example, because I'm sure you're not gonna lump sum deposit the 203. So, it's sort of hard to diversify across that many stocks with limited deposit. So, for me, I would suggest take it each month 1 to 2 stocks lang. Then diversify over time.
Unless you're different and you just lump sum the 200k and then.
If you lump sum, then you could. Right?
Yeah, you could.
If you lump sum.
Yeah.
I think majority wouldn't lump sum. Right?
What we're doing is we're basically following as if we have it part of our like compensation where we allocate
Monthly.
Yeah, instead of having everything in one go.
Yeah. Or maybe monthly and then to save up the 200k
Yeah.
and then up until like it's the end of the year. You could
I think you could park everything in the money market.
Yeah.
Then until the time when okay, I have enough, I'll just allocate all to
Yeah,
15
but
stocks.
obviously, as if you do that, the market changes. You
Yeah.
don't know if the price is the same.
But if you allocate every month, at least you're smoothing it out. In terms of volatility, if it's up now,
Yeah.
at least
Which is why the alerts are important because you will be guided there also.
Yeah. How about you, Aaron? Have you started your Para journey?
Yeah, I deposited also. I deposited last December. Although haven't deposited yet in
You
January.
haven't deployed anything. Have you deployed anything? Like
I
bought?
haven't yet. Actually, it's still in cash.
Are you waiting for us?
switching from trade alerts.
No, it's because partly I was also like focused as well, like putting it into like some stuff that are not in the Para portfolio for
Right.
December.
I mean, in the meantime, you could always park it in PPI.
Yeah. For money market fund. Okay, and also I'd like to mention that on our Discord channel, like we've onboarded different creators in Sir John to have their portfolios publicly available as well. So they have different age brackets for you guys to follow. So for example, could you please explain like the different age brackets to our audience?
Okay, so since the easiest is to start with is me and Jan. We're in our 20s,
Yep.
so our age range is 20s.
Mid 20s.
Well, early to 20, just 20s in general.
Yeah.
Depends how young you think we are.
Yeah. And then you have
Investing PH.
Investing PH,
30s.
30s to although he also put 20s.
Yeah.
A lot of them put like around 20s to 30s. Stocks Log put 20 to 40s. I guess it's because his strategy is mostly focused on REITs, and REITs applies to everything. The most different one is money-wise. Hers is for the retired, so around 50 to 60s,
Yeah,
Yeah, Sir John also. Right?
which is about 40s. Yeah.
40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think money-wise also started her Pera account because he wants to take advantage of no dividend tax,
Yeah.
etc. Right?
And it's actually I think hers is great a lot. It's very helpful because she's both retired and an OFW, right? So it really will help a lot of those who want to benefit from Pera but are already like in their 50s or 60s
People with the same demographics or
and same
background.
like risk profile as
Risk profile.
yeah.
Yeah, because here in Dragonfly, we really advocate for age-based investing. So what I mean by that is like for me and Franco, since we're in our
We're young.
20s, right? So we can take on more risk, right? So obviously, what we're gonna be investing in our Pera portfolios are like a bit more aggressive. Like us, we don't have Nickel Asia
Nickel, yeah.
in our Pera portfolio.
What I'm also looking at is Converge.
Yeah, so more of kahit Pera, parang we're hitting the growth place more.
The
Versus-
dividend growth place.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have like our dividend place, but we also have the growth place.
Yeah, but of course, as you age, right, you have to protect your capital a bit more. So your risk aversion increases, right? That's why when we have different age groups, you'll see like as you move up the age group, their stock selection, their fund selection, they tend to be a bit more
Yeah,
conservative.
maybe it's more on the money market side by the time you're like 50 or 60.
Would that be an advisable strategy? Like position more into the money market fund as you grow older.
Yes.
If you want to protect capital, yeah.
Yeah, it
Like
would-
less stocks than more
But
money.
ideally, what you want is you build it out in your 20s, so by the time you're 60s,
Just hold on.
you hold on to it and you
Hopefully at a low cost, right?
low cost, so your yield on cost is high, but essentially you're earning a lot in passive income
Yeah.
by the time you retire.
Kasi like how we can do it is like just because you're moving up the age group doesn't mean you're selling your aggressive stocks. It just means that all the succeeding deposits, they're not being added to those growth stocks anymore. They're going more to more conservative, maybe like the money market fund, right? So it's more of just the allocation rather than shifting from growth to more conservative.
It's just the new additions that we're not putting into the same
Yes.
stuff that you had before. Because you want to protect your average price.
Yes.
When I get it, what you're saying is that if you have bought these stocks way before pa, in your early 20s, 30s, by the time you retire, before they were just paying you 4%, by the time they retire on your cost,
Cost is high.
It's
like
a lot.
10%,
Yeah.
20%. Right?
Yes.
Just to share, I guess, what the ideal outcome is. For example, we traded OGP. We have OGP, right? And we bought this 16, 14. So our yield on cost of that is about 20-25%. So that's the ideal. It's what you want to see when you retire.
It's because you bought OGP at cheaper prices.
Yeah.
That's why you have like a 20+%.
But that's yield on cost. But on the like trading 12 months, it's about less than 10% now.
Current market yield of OGP is around 10%. So that's so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, the point is like the younger you start, like you have a long runway for dividend growth to compound, right? So that when you're in your old age, those growth stocks, baka they're dividend payers na by that time.
Yeah, like Converge, who knows?
Right?
Actually, now that we're brushing up on strategy, like tactics, and like whether to choose for dividend growth stocks or like high yielding names, would you say how different is your strategy for Pera and for
Non-Pera.
Non-Pera.
Well, for me, it's almost the same. The only difference, the main difference is that one, I'm starting from scratch and I'm less scared of ruining my average price, because that's one of the biggest things I consider when I add to my positions
In your main,
in my main account. I always think about
but
the
this
effect.
you're from scratch.
But
right?
yeah, so this one I can be a lot more aggressive. And the other strategy I have is because it's long term and there's no dividend tax, I'm chasing after the high yields and the dividend growers, the potential dividend growers.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it. Like you mentioned about putting it into high yielding names, like to take advantage of the no dividend
Like
tax.
for example, Bell at like 8% or close to 7 to 8%. That's essentially what you're gonna get now.
That's net.
That's net.
Hopefully in the future we have preferred stocks as well, right?
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that pay out 10%, 9%.
So far, it's not
I mean,
eligible yet.
You could always go for PV. They're always paying you like 10% now.
But the price
those are bad.
stability is not there.
But I was kidding there. Don't touch
Yeah.
those.